Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about all of the books I'm going to be reading for the Spookopoly readathon. And I pretty much got roped into doing this by Stacy. I think the creator of this is Becca from Becca's Book Reviews, or Becca and the Books. And that's Stacy's like all-time favorite booktuber. And every month, I think she does kind of like a Monopoly-based readathon. And in October, she's doing it like spooky, like a spooky version of it, essentially. So I watched the video and I was like, oh, I guess I could do that. So I did film myself rolling for the Spookopoly readathon, and you're going to be seeing all of that throughout the video, and then all of those lead to prompts, which I will have books for those prompts. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, here's my first roll for Spookopoly-thon. It's an 8, 5, and a 3, so green. So for my first roll, I landed on read a book with green on the cover. And this first book is going to be funny, maybe a little bit unexpected, but I'm going to be reading Monster Blood by R.L. Stine. And the only reason I'm reading this is honestly just because it's narrated by Kirby Hayborn. I love Kirby Hayborn, and I grew up reading Goosebumps books, so it's going to be a weird experience going back and reading some of these books. I'm at least going to do this one, but I might do more. It'll be fun to listen to Kirby Hayborn narrate like a childhood classic book for me. So that's what I'm going to be doing for green on the cover. Second roll. Oh, get that in frame. So it's a 6, a 4, and a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stabby. And then the next roll I rolled was for Stabby, which is basically read a book with with people getting stabbed or people stabbing people. You know, a typical Halloween kind of book. And the one that I will be doing is They Never Learn. I believe it's by Lane Fargo. And this is actually me and Stacy's pick for Thrill, Chill, or Kill book club for October. I think it's supposed to be like a female version of Dexter. And any kind of comparison to Dexter, I'm going to read that shit because I love Dexter. And I'm hoping that this book turns out to be pretty good. We've had a couple of like chills lately. Like the last one we did was Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Pretty much everyone thought that book was kind of meh. So I'm hoping this book is a definite thrill. And roll number 3. Another 6, 4, and a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dice Roulette. So I landed on Dice Roulette, which means I'm going to roll the dice again, and every dot I get is 50 pages, and I have to get it close to the amount. So let's hope for a short book. All right, we got 5. That's 250-ish pages. And the next one I landed on was Dice Roulette, and I think I ended up getting it to where, oh yeah, I rolled a 5, so I have to read a book that's close to 250 pages as possible. And the only book that's kind of close to that on my TBR is Death is a Lonely Business by Ray Bradbury. And I want to jump back into reading more Ray Bradbury because he's one of my all-time favorite authors. I normally read his short stories, but this is actually, I think, a mystery novel that he wrote back in like the 70s. So I have no idea what it's about, but I'm going to jump into it, and I'm hoping that I'm going to have a good time with it. Now we're on to roll number 4. 6 again. 4 and 2. Man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is Toffee Apple. So Toffee Apple is described as a sticky book, or a book I'm not going to want to put down. And the next one that I landed on was Toffee Apple, which I think Stacy described this as like a sticky book or something that you're just going to want to consume in like one sitting. And novellas are usually good for that. And I'm going to be reading Sterling City by Stephen Graham Jones. Very, very short. It's like 80 pages. I'm not entirely sure what this one's about. I remember Evie saying that it was kind of different than what she expected. Like, it's not really horror. It might even be kind of like a young adult book, kind of. Either way, it's 80 pages. I'm going to read it in one sitting. I normally really enjoy his works, so I'm hoping this one's going to be good as well. Now we're on to roll number 5. Can I roll anything besides a 6? A 7. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Community shelf. So I'm going to draw one of these little tiny cards. A Guess the Beat book, which is fitting because I'm going to have to read that anyway. So I don't know what it is yet because it's not the end of September, but when I figure that out, that's what I'll be reading. And the next one I landed on was a community shelf, and the card that I picked was a Guess the Beat winner for the month, which at the time that I rolled this, it was before I announced the winner, so I didn't really even know until like a few days ago. The winner was Pat Sava, and he actually was going to pick Sterling City, but I told him, I'm actually going to be reading that anyway, so pick something else. And then we were kind of chatting, and then I told him I was thinking of possibly picking up this R.L. Stine book called The Overnight, which is actually going to be a reread for me. He said, go for it. That sounds like fun. So I read this book in like middle school, and then randomly, like a few years ago, I was trying to find out like what this random ass book was that I read in middle school that I really liked. And I think I got it on Thrift Books. And I read it a few years back and kind of still enjoyed it. So I'm kind of interested to go back and reading it. If you're interested, this book is supposedly kind of the book that like the writer, director might have stolen the idea for I Know What You Did Last Summer. They're very similar in premise and concept and execution. Well, maybe not execution, but pretty similar. So it's a fun, like YA horror book from like the late 80s, early 90s. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. And roll number 6, my last roll, unless I roll a double. Knock on wood. All right, we have a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Big book. So I have to read a book that's more than 500 pages. And the next one that I rolled was Big Book, a book that's over 500 pages. I'm not reading, I think this is the only one that I'm reading this month that's even over 500 pages. It's called Our Share of Night by Mariana Enrique. I think that's the right author. If not, then I'll edit it later. But yeah, this is a book that I've been meaning to buddy read with a few people like all year, but we've all kind of like been pushing it back like, yeah, we'll read it later. Well, damn it, we're going to read it in October. Perfect time. It's like a 500-page horror book, supposed to be very creepy, and I've read this author's short stories before, and they're very good. It's going to be a lot of fun to jump into this epic horror tale, so definitely looking forward to it. And since I didn't get any doubles, I'm just going to go ahead and chance it and do a book number 7. Watch me roll a double. Okay, it's a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I passed go. Collect $200. And it's another community shelf. So let's see what this is. A Patreon book, which is also fitting because I also have to read that. So I lucked out with those community shelves. And the last one that I rolled was another community shelf. And Stacy's probably going to laugh about this because when we filmed it at her house, like she actually printed out and like wrote out like all of these community shelf and then some other cards, but I apparently forgot to shuffle them. So literally the first 2 ones that were on there were Guess the Beat and my Patreon pick. And so that's what I picked, was my Patreon pick. And what is my Patreon pick? Well, I'll tell you. It's Inherent Vice by Thomas Pynchon. I don't know. So my Patreon winner wanted me to read this. They're really into like literary books and books that you really have to like sit and digest with. And Thomas Pynchon is known for having some out there ideas and out there books. And this is apparently a really good starting place. And I had already owned it, so they wanted me to read this one. So that's what I'm going to do. I really don't know what it's about. I'm sure it's going to be weird and wacky, and luckily it's not too long, so I'm definitely interested to see what all the hype is about with this author. All right, so that's all of the books I'm going to be doing for Becca's Spookopoly. I don't know what it's called. I'm doing this. Yeah, and those are the 7 books I'm probably going to be doing for it. I'll probably make a TBR video going over all of the books that I plan to get to in October during the Stephen King Clue Readathon month. You still have some time to sign up. The sign up ends on October 7th. Hopefully this comes out tomorrow on October 4th. I don't know what day it is. But yeah, you still have a few days to sign up if you wish. Yeah, and like I said, I'm going to be reading a bunch of stuff. Me and Stacy aren't on teams, so we don't have to, what we read, we don't have to like play by the rules or anything. So we're probably going to read a handful of like shorter options too, because every time we both finish a book, the wheel gets spun and a random winner of the wheel spin gets a free clue. So we're going to have a couple of days in October where we just read a bunch of short stuff. And it can be like just a short story, a comic book, novella, or anything. So we have a lot planned for October. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I will eventually make my October TBR. Kind of late, but you know, I'm going to try to get back into filming. It's hard though. Like I've been picking up more hours at the post office and I'm trying to actually read. So, you know, when I'm also working, it's hard to do, you know, like filming and reading at the same time. I don't know how people do it, like full-time jobs, read a bunch and film. I don't know, but I'm going on a little bit of a rant here. So let's just wrap up the video. Those are the books I'm going to be doing for the, what's it called? The Spookopoly readathon. That's what I'm going to be doing. So have you read any of these books? Are you interested in any of these books? Can I talk? Can I complete a sentence? Let me know your comments down below and we'll chat about it. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm awesome. I have my Patreon page linked down below if you want to go support me there. I have the Bookish Drummer Discord where we are always doing fun stuff like the Throw, Chill, or Kill book club. I have the Stephen King short story book club that's going to start back up in January. And right now we're doing the Stephen King Clue Readathon, which is a lot of fun. So yeah, come join us there. Subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a fantastic day.